And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I'm back with another installment of our tier list series. Oh man, so today we're doing small forwards. So a couple parameters before we get started. Number one, it's only small forward primary position. So guys like Opal Vince Carter that came out yesterday, he's a primary position shooting guard, though I would say if you go back and watch my shooting guard tier list, he's S tier. Point guard Magic Opal is S tier, etc. You get the general gist. You know Dark Matter Jordan is going to be S tier, etc. So only primary position small forwards. Now parameters S tier. These guys fit majority or all of play styles. Anybody could use them and get better. They do pretty much everything. They're just the top of the top, in my opinion, at least. A tier. These guys do 4 or 5 things incredibly well. Now, they're not quite on S tier level where they're perfect for every single playstyle like some of these guys in S tier would be, but for majority playstyles, they're going to be great, etc. B tier. These guys are great cards. Now, they're just not as complete as the guys in A and S tier, in my opinion. C tier, specialist guys. They do a few things really, really, really well, or they're just older cards that used to be elite that are a little bit outdated at this point. D tier, super specialist guys. They definitely just don't come as complete out of the package, but people who are good with them are going to love the cards, etc. So I'm sure you'll see a couple of your favorite guys in D tier. Go a little easy on me in the comments. Had a rough weekend. F tier. Not worthless. So I don't do worthless tiers because I don't think anybody in this game is particularly worthless in any way, shape, or form. Anybody can pick any of these cards up, and there's a guy out there who's fire with a guy in F tier, and probably better than that with that player than they are with somebody in B tier. That is normal, but for the majority of the player base and the majority of playstyles, there's better options out there for what you're looking for, which is why they're in F tier in the first place. Basically, just a red flag that you might need to upgrade that card or that position. So, yeah, I mean, I tried to make the parameters as clear as possible. Hey. Also, if you're live commenting while watching the video, just wait till the end. You guys know I tinker with my list like a final time at the very end, like Ruxin from the league, so let me rock, man. So first things first, we'll start off with Pink Diamond Peja. I'm going to throw him directly into F tier. Look, if you're wet with this Peja card, or if he's one of the only Pink Diamonds you have, totally understand liking this card a lot, but he's just not very great, and there's guys that do what he does much better than him. A guy that would do exactly what Peja does much better would be Hedo Turkoglu. He does exactly what Peja does, but slightly better because he brings a little bit more ball handling and a little bit more facilitating, whereas Peja is just basically a pure shooter that does absolutely nothing else. So that's kind of an example of how the ranking system will work in some way. Cedric Maxwell. This unlimited reward is absolutely S tier. Anybody who gets this card, if they're using primary position small forwards, obviously, it's going to improve their team. Now, look, if you have Dark Matter Zion, who is a primary position power forward, so he's not going to be on this list, yeah, obviously, Cedric Maxwell is not improving your team right out of the gate. But as far as primary position small forwards go, this guy's one of the cream of the crop. He's an S tier guy. He's a 5-tool dude. He plays defense. He shoots. He's fast. He has a really, really nice, easy-to-time jump shot that's quick. You can get off on quick stops. This card is a next level. I'm not going to say demon because I'm 28 years old and I can't talk like that because I'm old. Elgin Baylor. I would say he's probably D tier. There's nothing wrong with this card. It's just everything he does, there's cards that do better. That's it. That being said, he's good at attacking the rim. He can shoot a little bit. He plays a little bit of defense. He's really annoying in spotlight sims when you have to come up against the god tier Hoff CPU, but yeah. Gerald Green. Gerald Green's tough. I'd probably put him in D for now. He might get dropped to F, though. I love this card. I'll say that right now because I'm going to get slandered in the comments because somebody's going to tell me how good this card is. Yeah, he is great, but he's just a little bit outdated, and there's guys that do what he does slightly better. But I will say, I like this card a lot. He's one of my favorite cards this year. Glenn Robinson III is C tier. I like this card a lot. One more thing I forgot to mention is I don't rank these cards based on if they're badged up, because any card is good badged up. So these are fresh out of the box rankings, so if you're looking to get new players and make upgrades, you know what you're getting yourself into right off the bat. But Glenn Robinson's great. Gerald Green is a better shooter than Glenn Robinson, but Glenn Robinson is better than Gerald Green at everything else. Defense, ball handling, facilitating, attacking the rim, just a far superior player. Just like Peja to Hito, this is Gerald Green to Glenn Robinson. George Gervin is also C tier, in my opinion. Now, one other thing is I know I'm gonna get some pullback on some of the C tier stuff. I will say that I will be ranking them in C tier specifically and B tier, like, on better. There's like C.5 and B.5, and I'll get into it. James Worthy. I like James Worthy. He's got great size, but he's just an outdated card. I would put him in like D tier. Personally, there's just guys that are going to be in C tier that do everything James Worthy does, but better. He's better as a power forward anyway, and he lacks shooting badges and stats at this point that I can't confidently say he'd make your team better than if you used Glenn Robinson and George Gervin. I really don't think he would, personally. Like, Jeremy Grant's a better version of James Worthy. Like, everything James Worthy does, Jeremy Grant does 50 times better. I actually love this Jeremy Grant card. He's my favorite card in C tier as of right now. It goes exactly as this in the rankings. As far as D tier, it also would probably go like this. Joe Ingles. I love this card. I literally think this card is so good. Maybe I'm tripping. Like, potentially I'm straight up tripping about Joe Ingles, but he's a complete card. He's 6'8", really great jump shot on quick, great badge count. Fresh out of the box, he's complete. As soon as you pull or buy this dude, he is a complete card. He's great. He's literally great. Plus, he's got good size, good speed. Havlicek. I don't like this card. I will say that right now. This is not the Opal Havlicek. But, objectively, he's better than all the guys in D tier. He's like a better Elgin Baylor, basically. Joe Harris. Joe Harris is actually really good, but he's basically just worse Joe Ingles. Like, they're both named Joe. They both kind of look the same. Yeah, Joe Ingles is just a better version of Joe Harris. But Joe Harris is a really good free card. And for Ruby challenges, he's going to be clutch. Paul Pierce can't shoot from the corners, but he's still a pretty good card. Like, all things considered. He might get dropped to D tier because his badge count is a little bit low, and I think there's some guys coming into C tier that are going to be a little bit better, but that's just my opinion on it. Julius Erving, he's just a better version of like Elgin Baylor and Gerald Green, what they do. And he's outdated for sure, but he's still good. Sean Marion. Marion's tough, man. He might almost make it to A tier. I think the only thing that's keeping him out of A tier is his jump shot. But fully evoed, he's a god. He can dribble, but that jump shot is really easy to block. And if you're playing against the A, Hall of Fame CPU, or B, someone who's pretty good at the game, they're going to smack Sean Marion's jump shots out of the sky a lot of times. He's got a really easy to contest jump shot, too, because he shoots so low to the ground. You know, he shoots more like center mass than he does like above his head, so it's easier to contest, too, with the 2K contest system. So there are some glaring issues with this card, but this card plays immaculate defense. He rebounds really well for somebody of his size. He dunks so hard. And one of the added bonuses to his jump shot is it actually limits the amount of bad shots you take, because you have to be constantly cautious of taking jump shots with Sean Marion because his jump shot is so easy to block. This one hurts because I love this card, but I would say he's C tier. I would even be willing to say fresh out of the box, like, he's probably down here at like 5th in C tier, in my opinion. Like I said, I love this Rudy card, but try to be as objective as possible. Scottie Pippen, C tier as well. I put him right ahead of Glenn Robinson. Great card, one of the best defenders in the game, but he's just slowly becoming outdated. He's got kind of a slow jump shot, which it does hamper him a little bit. TJ Warren. I'd probably put TJ Warren in here right next to Glenn Robinson because they're basically the same card. Glenn Robinson's a little bit faster, a little bit better ball handler, whereas TJ Warren's a bit better defender. That's really the only difference. Also, TJ Warren has sweet straight backs. So, this Julius Erving, they're the exact same card. Like, there's no difference. Like, they're the exact same. Rick Barry is A tier. Look, personally, Rick Barry's S tier. But the way I've laid out S tier, Rick Barry is not a card that benefits every single play style. He benefits a good majority of them, but I don't know if Rick Barry benefits a person who exclusively runs pick and roll, rim running, and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. In my opinion, he's so close to S tier, but I think he's just down at A. He's got that Jarrett Jack base I've talked about before, which is ridiculous. Same as Cedric Maxwell, but Cedric Maxwell is just a more complete card than Rick Barry, in my opinion. Wally Zerbiak. Love Wally Zerbiak, and if I was doing a personal bias, he'd be A tier, but B tier makes sense. Not everyone's going to love his jump shot. You really need to evo him by hitting 100 3-pointers for him to be worth it, which is annoying. But once he is evoed, he's great. He's a great 3-and-D cone, but 3-and-D cone isn't A tier. Junior Bridgman's B tier too. He's actually really, really good. If I had to rank them by who I liked right now, or overall better, I would say Marion Zerbiak. Well, Marion Bridgman Zerbiak. Tobias Harris, there's just better options than what he does. I like Tobias Harris more than Peja Stojakovic. That I will say. Jonathan Isaac. I can't put him in F tier. He's not F tier. He's like right here. Yeah, he's like D tier. I mean, he's a lockdown defender. He's got great size. He can attack the rim. It's just, if you've shot with Jonathan Isaac, you know that he misses the most whites out of anyone in this game. Like, Dirk and Larry Bird are close, but Jonathan Isaac he misses so many. Kawhi Leonard, he's still got the Kawhi Leonard defensive animations, pretty good badge count. Kawhi Leonard's jumper, he's the lowest B tier card. Nah, Junior Bridgman, sorry bro, I like you, but no way I can put you ahead of Wally Zerbiak. Karan Butler. Karan Butler is my second favorite card in C tier. Not even remotely close. This card is actually incredibly good. He's complete too, he does everything. Brian Russell, I would say Brian Russell is slightly better than Joe Ingles in C tier. Especially when he's Evo. He's great. He's better Scottie Pippen. That's my opinion. Kendrick Williams, I'd probably rank him somewhere around like, fully Evo'd out, he's a great 3-and-D defender. Probably close to around like Rudy and TJ Warren. Chris Middleton, he's better Joe Ingles, basically. Like, they're pretty similar. I like Joe Ingles' jump shot better, but everything else about Chris Middleton I like a little bit better. Paul George, I would say he's still pretty good. I would say he's better than Bridgman and Kawhi Leonard in B tier. He's probably better than Wally Zerbiak, but I like Wally Zerbiak, so I'm going to keep Wally Zerbiak ahead of him. I think Shawn Marion is objectively better than Paul George, though. Gerald Wallace is my... I love Gerald Wallace. Gerald Wallace he's so good. I would say he's probably like right over here in B tier. He's better than Bridgman and Kawhi. Especially if he's badged up, he's legitimately A tier. Fully badged up, I mean, you can make an argument Gerald Wallace is S tier. He has some of the best steal animations for a small forward. He's got this giant player build. He's huge, he's ripped, he's fast. He gets a lot of chase down blocks. This card is nasty. Kevin Durant, I don't really like this Kevin Durant card, but objectively he's B tier. I like the way I have it ranked right now. I gotta drop Wally Zerbiak. I'm tripping on Wally Zerbiak. He deserves to be down here. I love this card, but, you know. Glenn Rice. He's probably the worst guy in B tier, but he's definitely in B tier. He'll be the first person to get dropped down to C. This Chris Middleton is the same as this one, so. Giannis. I think Diamond Giannis is D, personally. He's not even the best. He's probably the... No, I think James Worthy. No, he's better. Him and James Worthy are pretty similar. Like, Giannis just has that Giannis player build. He's better Jonathan Isaac, basically. I personally prefer Jonathan Isaac, but objectively, Giannis is better. He has better ball handling, attacking the rim, rebounding, defense. Jonathan Isaac's just a better shooter, and that's even objective. Detlef Schrempf, I'd probably put him like right behind Scottie Pippen. Vince Carter, objectively, I think he's still B tier. Very low B tier, but B tier. Him and Glenn Rice are the first to get dropped down. Jimmy Butler's A still. Like, he's better than everyone in B tier, but I think Rick Barry's a little bit better than him. Kiki Vanderwee, probably, he deserves to go right behind, or like right around Joe Ingles. They're pretty similar cards as well. Kiki's got great size and a good jump shot, but he lacks some important badges. Michael Finley, I think he's right around Rudy and Havlicek. Cliff Hagan, same thing. He's better, but Finley plays better defense. Cliff Hagan shoots better. So I think that makes sense. And Rudy's just ahead of him from a personal preference standpoint. This Larry Bird, he's not great, I will say that, but he's probably better than these guys, objectively. And I like Gerald Green more. He's better than like Jonathan Isaac and Hito. I think, yeah, I don't know. I'll just leave him right here. It doesn't matter. Latrell Sprewell is incredible. This card is so good. Like, he's so good. B tier makes so much sense for him. This LeBron, right next to Giannis in D tier. Like, he's still LeBron, but he's outdated. This LeBron, he's still good. I'd probably put him right around Scottie Pippen as just an ex-elite card that is still usable, but isn't very good at this point. I'll take this Ruby George Gervin over him, though. I'm not even kidding. At the small forward position, for sure. Especially because he ends up in the corners a lot. I'm definitely taking Kiki Vanderwee, Joe Ingles. That's just my play style, but objectively, I guess LeBron's probably better than a lot of these guys. Yeah, objectively. I don't think he's better than these three, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Chris Mullins? Where's Cliff Hagan? Right there. He might even get dropped down. I'm not even sure. Andre Iguodala, I think, is still B tier. I think he's better than Vince Carter. Still good. This Giannis, I think he's like the best card in C tier, but he's still C tier. I don't think he's B tier. At the small forward position, he just lacks a lot offensively. That's the issue. Oh, y'all gonna hate me for this one, but Brent Berry's B tier. Right next to Wally Zerbiak. Dude, Brent Berry's complete, man. He's good. He's got good size. He's 6'7". Same jump shot as Wally Zerbiak. Great defender, 95 driving dunk. He's Wally Zerbiak, but he's a little worse on defense, a little more complete on offense. Still, like, damn near a 5-tool card, though. Grant Hill, right next to Bron. I don't think he's B tier anymore. That's just me. This LeBron, I think, is still A tier. The lowest member of A tier, but A tier nonetheless. He's got a good badge count for LeBron, you know. Lou Hudson. I would say Lou Hudson's probably one of the better cards in B tier. I think Sean Marion's a little bit better, but he is still good. He just lacks a lot of badges, and like I said, I don't rank cards based on being badged up. Dominique is the best card in D tier. To be honest, I like Joe Harris more, but objectively, Dominique's the best card in B tier. Cam Reddish, he's still good enough to be low-end B tier. I think he's a little bit better than, like, Vince Carter. I think Andre Iguodala is still a little bit better, but he deserves to be up there. Michael Porter Jr., I think, is legitimately better than a lot of these cards. Like, I'd probably put him, like, right there. Honestly, I think Junior Bridgman and Kawhi are a little bit better. I don't know. Michael Porter Jr. has the size. Kawhi has the defensive animation, so I'd put them right next to each other. Michael Porter Jr., even though he's an amethyst, still deserves to be in B tier with Brent Berry, you know? This one, oh no, whoa, you're not going to C tier. You're going to A tier. Danny Granger is still an A tier card in this game. I don't care what anyone says. Better than LeBron. Fight me. Carmelo, go next to your homies down there. I just don't think he's that great. I think there's better options in C tier. Brandon Ingram. I think he's B tier, honestly, but he probably deserves to go right. No, I'm putting him ahead of Michael Porter Jr. I don't care. Personal preference. He's B tier regardless. In my opinion, he'd be way higher if he could have Unpluckable. Him not having Unpluckable is huge. But other than that, such a good card. Fight me on it. It doesn't matter. Batum. Batum's like a little bit worse version of like Chris Middleton. Excellent defender. Wish you could have a little bit more shooting badges, but still a very good card. I think, here we go. Where's Scottie Pippen? Yeah. Him and Scottie Pippen deserve to be right next to each other, in my opinion. Peja. Peja's B tier. He's really good. I think he's actually the best person in B tier. Like, personal preference, I'll take Gerald Wallace or Sean Marion, but objectively, I think Peja Stojakovic is the best person in B tier. He's really, really, really good. This is not the same Peja. He even has a different jump shot. It's so good. Richard Jefferson. I'd put him probably right around like Glenn Robinson and TJ Warren, but he's better than those two guys. He does similar things that, you know, to what they do, but he can shoot a little bit better. George Gervin, dusty old George Gervin. He's still really, really good. I would say he's probably around Kawhi and Junior Bridgman. Like, he's probably right around as good as those two guys. Great size. Everything I said about the Ruby goes for this one as well. Glenn Robinson, up among one of my favorite cards. Yeah, no. Objectively, he's just not as good, but he's great. I love this card. Shane Battier, where's Scottie Pippen and Batum? Yeah, right there. 3-and-D guy. Great defensively. Wish he had more shooting badges. Terry Dissinger. Yeah, Terry Dissinger. Okay, so objectively, like, Rick Barry, I think, is better than Terry Dissinger for me, right? But overall, Terry Dissinger is a better card. He's just good for any play style. No matter how you play the game, you can pick up Terry Dissinger, and he'll improve your team just by having him. It doesn't matter if you run rim, if you 3-hunt, if you run a lot of plays. He has a great play discipline. He does everything. He plays defense. He's huge. Nothing wrong with the card. Connie Hawkins. He's better than these three guys for sure. You know what? I would probably put him in C tier. There's not a lot of F tier small forwards just because I'd throw him down lower. Yeah, I just don't think there's a lot of F tier guys personally. Like, these two are the only ones I would say you need to immediately upgrade. The D tier guys, yeah, definitely you should upgrade, but if you do well with them, like, whatever. I'll probably drop a couple of people. Yeah, I hate Gordon Hayward. Yeah, okay, you can argue maybe he should be in C. I'll drop Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce is probably the best member of D tier. Jack Morin, absolute S tier for sure. Everything I said about Terry Dissinger goes the same for Jack Morin. Jack Morin's just a little bit better defensively. Timothy. I'll put him right next to, like, honestly, I put him like next to Gervin. Like, fully badged out, he's like really, or fully evoed, he's really good. Got great size too. So I'll probably drop Elgin Baylor. I would say if you have Elgin Baylor, it's probably a good idea to upgrade him. There's just, the cards that are coming out now are so much better. He has like no Hoff badges, even evoed and stuff like that. Probably drop. Nah, I'll just keep the rest the way it is. Anyways, as always, it's been your boy Cheap Ludes. Thanks for watching the tier list. I'll be back tomorrow with the continuation. I'm going to do power forwards and centers. Those are going to be a little easier for me to do because every card that's coming out now is either, you know, as far as the small forwards go, have either been primary shooting guard or primary power forward. So it's been quiet on the small forward front, which makes me think we're going to get a lot more of them in the future. But I think a lot of them, just like last year at this point, are going to start to be playing, you know, shooting guard, small forward, as opposed to a small forward shooting guard. But we'll see what's going on. So I think this upcoming season we'll be getting a lot more small forwards. So next year's, or not next year's, but next month's list will be a little bit more filled up. But as always, it's been your boy Cheap Ludes, and check my description for all my stuff, and I'll be back tomorrow with more. Peace.